Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the studio this evening. And tonight we're going to have a little bit of fun painting this flamingo. The fun bit of this, I mean, not only comes in from the fact that we're doing some watercolor painting, but I've drawn this flamingo with some human legs, just to be a little bit different and to have a little bit of fun. If you've ever watched my channel before, I talk a lot about doing mashups, and I don't know, once a month or so, I'll do a mashup. I'll paint it on my own, whether it makes the channel or not. This was a fun one I did a little while ago, and I have it hanging up in my office. It's quite an attention getter. Everybody who comes in to see me makes comments about it. It's a wonderful, wonderful little painting. Well, normally I'll be using my M. Graham paints, but today I'm using some Daniel Smith paints. I've got a palette full of Daniel Smith paints, and I'm doing this because I've got a lot better pinks and oranges in these Daniel Smith paints than I do in my M. Graham set of paints. So on this bird, I'm going to be using some quinacridone magenta, pyrrole scarlet, a little orange vermilion. I'm going to mix them all up there on the page and let the paint do what it wants to on the page. I'll let the water do what it wants to, dropping in a little bit of water, hopefully for a little bit of texture. We'll see if that really comes to fruition in the end. But just trying to have a lot of fun with this painting. And like I said, in the end, this is a fantastic painting hanging on my wall. It certainly is an attention getter. The paper that I'm using, you see I've got it taped down to a plastic board. It's because I bought a roll of B watercolor paper, and unrolled it and cut it, and this is what I've got, which is paper that has a little bit of a bend to it, so just using that plastic board to keep everything tightened down a little bit. Well, the flesh tones that I'm using on this bird's legs, it seems a funny thing to do as I'm painting human legs on here. There's a little bit of Hansa yellow and a little bit of the pyrrole scarlet there, just to those two mix and make a kind of a flesh color there. I suppose it makes a flesh color if that is the color of your flesh. Happens to look a lot like mine, but you can see how fun and whimsical this is already. Having a set of legs on the bottom of this bird instead of those big, long, spindly legs that the flamingo would normally have. The first question I typically get asked when people see this painting is, are those male legs or female legs? And I'll leave that up to everybody else to figure out. Purposely didn't draw it to look like too much of either one. Just wanted to be kind of somewhere in between there. A little cerulean blue, a little bit of quinacridone rose in here, or some of that pink puddle of paint. Say that a few times fast. And I've got, there we go, let me get a nice close-up of that I've got on my palette. A pink puddle of paint on my palette. I feel like I'm Dr. Seuss or something. Now, this bird has dried a little bit. You can see there's some nice texture on there. But what I'm going to start to do is put a few feathers on here and there. There we go. Not trying to be super specific about it or anything. I just want to get a few feathers on here so we can see a little bit of detail where there might be something, rather than just have a large pink field there. And what I'm doing is I'm just putting paint on in kind of a feather-ish pattern, 2, 3, 4, 5 of these feathers all together, leaving one hard edge, and then just really pulling and blending out the color on the opposite side. I love to do that. It's kind of like some negative painting. It's a wonderful effect if you can do it and leave it just kind of really light. Then as somebody views your painting, they look at it, they might see some feathers, they might not. It depends on how light you do it. But it adds quite a bit of interest to your painting. There you can see there's quite a bit more there. It's a great illustration of the technique right there. I guess I haven't talked about it. The brushes that I'm using for this are my King Art brushes. These are the 90-20 series, the pointed rounds. I've been using these for a few years now. I very much like them. They're quite nice. They hold a lot of water. The water comes off very smoothly. And that super sharp point that's on them means that you can really get into any tight little space with any size brush and really do a great job. It works for my style of painting. If you were to do a looser style of painting, maybe you don't want this brush for that, but for me, I think it works wonderfully. And as you see me working around this bird, what I'm trying to do is just put some color on here to give it some definition and some shadows. Make the head look round, make the neck look round, make the body look like there's some dimension to it. Take some of the flatness away from what you see on just a single layer of wash on this bird. Yeah, trying to get some shadows on a few of the feathers that are coming off the back. So those feathers I drew or painted anyways are very much more pronounced than the one in my reference photo off to the right hand side there. That's fine. Like I said, I'm just trying to have some fun with this painting and not strictly follow the rule of what that bird is supposed to look like. Just trying to determine. What I'm doing right now is what that leg needs to be in the front, what it needs to be behind. How are we going to make the leg in front stand out? Make sure it stands out. And make sure the leg in the back definitely looks like it's in the back. I never really thought about it, but the human leg is kind of thick. I guess that would make this bird would have to be quite wide. I never really thought about it before, but that bird's going to have to be quite wide to have two legs underneath it. I guess I don't have to worry about that too much. This is just, like I said, just a fun painting. There we go, painting around this bird's kneecap right there. I want to make sure that I keep some light next to dark so that you can definitely tell what the front leg is and what the back leg is. That little bit of paint was an attempt to put on, and this is a little attempt to put on. Maybe a little bit of muscle tone, musculature, show a little bit of shadow in there, something like that. All just trying to get at, right here, there's a big calf muscle right there. All just trying to make sure we get some dimensionality into this leg. Not sure why I've stopped. Sure, I'll start painting again in just a second. I should say, this bee paper that I'm using, it is 140 pound. It's a 100% cotton watercolor paper. It always seems to be awfully light to me. And if you're not careful with the amount of water that you use, then if you use bee paper, it's going to warp and it's going to buckle pretty quickly and pretty badly. So I do try to use water as sparingly as I can while I'm using bee paper, knowing that it has a tendency to buckle quite a bit. Yeah, putting on some Pyrrol Scarlet there, mixed with a little bit of quinacridone rose. A nice, bright, vibrant pink color. Ooh, there's some straight quinacridone magenta down there. Just put it on. Let's spread that all around. And now you can really see the definition in some of those feathers. I do like to put in some darker areas. I'm trying to put some dots of water on there and give a little keep some of that texture going. I do like to put in some dark areas and really try to have a difference between the lights and darks on my paintings. Sometimes I'm a bit more successful with it. Sometimes I'm not quite as successful with it. In this application, I think trying to make this bird look like there's some body to it, some roundness to it, I think having the darks underneath really kind of help. And the fact that we can layer up some of these feathers on there also help and give us a good area where we can put some darks. Yeah, see, I've got these really subtle feathers in there, and I'm considering how subtle do I want those to be. And I've got the dark on the beak or the bill. I guess it's a bill up here that I need to do something with. The one thing I don't have in my Daniel Smith set of paints is a real dark, right? I've got a Moon Glow, which is a dark blue, but I don't have a black, I don't have a brown, I don't have a real gray. I'll have to mix my own dark color to go there. And we just add it onto those. Just put a little color on and spread it out. Just make a nice long gradation all the way out and let that color spread itself out. It'll stay nice and dark where you want it to and have a beautiful bit of color as you move it around. It's lovely. And like I said before, I'm not trying to recreate. Oh, see, don't have any black in my Daniel Smith set. I had to steal some from my M. Graham set of paints. Probably a good idea. Oh, pretty quick, pretty easy. All of a sudden, it's a nice bill on this bird. Maybe this bird should be named Bill. I don't know. Let's work on the eyeball there. Just going to put a little dot in there, right? I might need a little bit more of a dot in there than that. There we go. Turn it around so I don't get my hand in any wet paint. There's the eyeball. If it seems like this is going a little crazy, this is sped up a little bit. I don't really paint this fast. I don't really move my board this fast. It's a little bit more than it's working a little faster, let's just say, than I normally would work. I do paint fast if I'm just in the studio by myself, but not quite this fast. All right, a couple other little details on here. We don't have much longer to go on this video. A couple of things to touch up here and there. That's about it. There we go. I paint that dark and that automatically pushes that feather back behind the other one. Ooh, that was too dark. Let's bring that in a little bit. There we go. Done, and done. You see, you can see kind of, I've painted the feathers and kind of made it look like they kind of go in a circle right around that bird's body, almost. And then extending those feathers, the difference in those feathers up a little bit, up the body. Yep. So that little fin right down the middle, a couple of those feathers. The bigger ones anyways, you can see it on. Maybe a notch in those feathers. So all I'm doing is just roughing up the edges of these so they don't look quite as smooth as, not as perfect as you would think a feather would be. Oh, see, I've got a few spots here and there. Those things make me nuts. Come back into focus, camera. Please come back into focus. Put a little blue in this flesh tone color. Hoping to add a little shadow to what we're doing here. Come on. Come on, self. Look up. Look at the camera. Let's reset the focus. I need to do it. Well, that back leg probably should have a shadow on it or something to push it back behind that front leg anyways. Push it back even further, I guess I should say. There we go. And, oh, yeah. Gotta have a little shadow on the toes, the foot. I should have probably put something around the heel, around the arch of that foot. There you go. I do like to put paint on and then just smooth that edge out a little bit. Just smooth it ever so slightly. I love to do that. I could do that all day. So you can see how fun this painting looks. I mean, it is kind of absurd to have a flamingo with some human legs on it. But I think that's part of what makes this so much fun and part of what people are drawn to when they see it. It's just the levity of it. It's a fun painting. And if you can't have a little fun with it, then what's the point, right? I think it turned out great. Every time I see it every morning when I walk into my office. I get a smile on my face. I'm just trying to finish that leg down there. A little bit more color. Right on. Oh yeah, let's give some toes. Sure. Gotta have a couple of toes there. So as we're coming to the end of this video, I just want to say down below, I've got some links to social media, to my website. I want to invite everybody to join me on Wednesday evenings. I do a live stream every Wednesday evening at 7 p.m. Pacific time here on YouTube. Come and join me. Let's talk paint, paper, colors, brushes. We have a good time. I'm gonna try to get a little bit of that paint off with a magic eraser. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Tip it in the water a little bit. Anyways, Wednesday evenings at 7 o'clock Pacific, I do a live stream here on YouTube. It's usually a pretty lively crowd. It's a lot of fun. We have a good time. I'd like to invite everybody to join me there for that. And with that, I guess I'm not quite done with that. I thought I was done there. Ta-da! It's amazing what the magic eraser can do. think I just need to sign this and call this one done. But nope. Still trying to add little details here and there. Little lines. Look like little feathers. Just individual little lines. Well, that's it. Thank you for joining me in the studio to paint this fun painting. I had a great time painting with you. There's my signature. Hope you all enjoyed it. Hope you're able to join me on a Wednesday evening sometimes. Until then, thank you so much. Y'all take care.